Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Moon to Sun, and I'm Jenny Geyer. In this episode, I'm going to be going through my interpretations of the astrology coming through this week from June 24th to June 30th. This is our first full week in Cancer season, and as I mentioned in the previous episode, Cancer season highlights not only the moon as the ruler of Cancer, but also Saturn in Pisces is going to be playing a primary role as our teacher handing out our homework assignments this season. And if you want to think about Jupiter and Gemini as the friendly principal who stands at the door and greets all the students as they're coming in the morning and high fives them and gives them a thumbs up in the hallway, when they all shuffle into the classroom and sit down and look up at the chalkboard, there's Saturn in Pisces. So the first assignment in Cancer season starts out this week. And I think the theme of this first assignment is around conflict resolution. And now, when I say conflict, I'm kind of broadly defining that as anything that causes emotional upset or disruption in our lives. This is carrying over themes from Gemini season around emotional intelligence. And now in Cancer season, we're being guided toward the idea of emotional responsibility and how we manage all that data that we were gathering over the course of Gemini season around how we communicate with others and how we perceive others. And this is going to be a season where we learn just about how our emotions can be great teachers that help guide us toward kind of improving our approach to conflict. Words are powerful. They can trigger our emotions and can either be empowering or disempowering. So, being responsible with how we interact and how we react and holding ourselves accountable for our energy output as well as our input is going to be the theme of Cancer season. So starting out on Monday, we have the moon entering Aquarius Sunday night. So early in Monday, that same moon is going to join up with Pluto and Aquarius. And this is kind of a foreshadowing for what I think this week's emotional training camp is going to bring us. So the message, I think, starting out is going to be transformation around how we approach conflict in our lives internally and externally. With the moon meeting up with Pluto, the goal of the assignment, I think, is to learn how to work better with others who are different from us and who we may not agree with on a fundamental level. But remembering that the overarching goal here is to try and create a more harmonious environment. So we have to learn how to get along some way or another. And that same moon in Aquarius is going to square Mars at 7 p.m., around 7 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. So this might be the first kind of glimpse of a conflict that comes up for us. So pay attention to anything that might feel triggering for you around this time. The moon and Mars, I kind of think of, are going to be our avatars throughout the week. And what they're up to this week will kind of point to us as far as what we can do to help resolve some of the conflicts coming through. The moon is our feelings, and the Mars is about action. So when these two energies are together, it's about taking actions that are guided by our emotions, but not until they're processed and appropriately channeled for the most beneficial outcome. So if you feel called to speak out about something that you're passionate about, to advocate, you should follow that instinct. With Mars in a Venus ruled sign, just remember that you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. And so then moving on to Wednesday, the moon enters Pisces very early in the morning again, around 2 a.m. Eastern time. And this is a very different kind of moon. This moon is guiding us to kind of take a softer approach. And I think we're being asked to allow our emotions to play a role in how we approach conflicts or disruptions, but that it's important, again, to make sure that we're doing so from a peaceful center. So, have you been tending to yourself in a way that allows you to approach conflict from a peaceful, grounded place? Well, if not, this is a great day to take that time to kind of restabilize your energy, rest up, meditate, do whatever you need to do so that you can take the most mindful approach that is aligned with your highest intentions. And if you need help or guidance on how to do that, you'll have some support when Mercury in Cancer is going to be trining Saturn in Pisces. So Mercury is not so comfortable in a water sign. This is a very emotional place, so it's not always clear on what the right move is or what information is accurate versus what information is coming from our feelings. But all this information is important. So, but it still can be confusing. And so this Mercury trining Saturn, I think the best way to use this energy might be to go talk to somebody, a wise elder, someone in your life that you respect, someone that you regard as a mentor, maybe. If you're feeling compelled or if you need help navigating a situation that's come up for you that might feel a little challenging, This would be a great day to do that. Their support will help guide you, hopefully, towards some kind of resolution. Um, and also that same day, Venus in Cancer is going to be squaring the North Node in Aries. So I think this strategy is kind of further supported by this aspect. If there's a labor of love, something you've been working on, maybe a project, or maybe you've just been working on being more kind and open to others, um, this day I think you'll see some fruits of your labor. Something will come up that on Wednesday, that helps you realize that you made some progress. There's still work that needs to be done, but you should feel good about what you've accomplished so far. And I think that whatever you're working on, you'll probably feel most rewarded if you're doing it from a place of being emotionally invested in what you're working on. And if your heart's in it, it shows. And then on Thursday, that same moon in Pisces is going to be making a few different aspects. Sextiling Mars, joining up with Saturn in Pisces, and then trining that same Mercury that we talked about in Cancer. And to me, this looks like a moment of pause, maybe relaxation. This is time where you can take time to process and integrate whatever advice you sought out from your Saturn in Pisces elder, and taking time to kind of marinate over whatever's come up for you from a place of emotional detachment will probably be the best use of this energy. Our emotions are leading us into a kind of a frequency shift that's going to help us navigate the challenges that are coming up, which takes us into Friday, because I think this is where we're going to be put to the test. The moon enters Aries around 3 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. And moon in a Mars ruled sign generally kind of translates into wanting to take action, to take initiative in a very tangible way on something that evokes passion in you, for good or bad. So, on the lower expressions, this can sometimes point to a verbal or even a physical fight. But on the higher side, a moon in Aries can feel very motivating and empowering, and we'll want to strike out and take action on accomplishing something that really matters to us. Mercury in Cancer Mercury in Cancer is also going to be squaring Chiron on Friday. And I think this is going to be a reminder to take whatever advice was given to us earlier from Saturn to help reach whatever overarching goal that we're working on, especially if it's something that requires some kind of collaboration. Whatever we decide to take action on in the world will always have some kind of effect on other people, whether or not we rely on them to help us complete a project or to work on something. Whatever we do in the world affects other people. So, we'll want to make sure that what we're doing, what we're putting out to the world, has others, engaged or invested in whatever we're doing. And in order to do that, we will need to be diplomatic in how we present our ideas, and that usually involves allowing others the chance to speak their truths, or to contribute in some way that makes them feel heard. And these are all traits of a successful leader, which is definitely something that Aries is associated with. So these are all things to take into consideration on Friday. So then on Saturday, that moon in Aries is going to join up with Chiron around 8 p.m. in the evening Eastern time. So this to me looks like, however you manage the conflicts that were coming through for you this week, your grades being posted. So you'll know how you did by Saturday. This is also the same day that Saturn is going to be stationing retrograde at 19 degrees in Pisces. So we're going to be reviewing and repeating this test later on in the year. So if you didn't ace it this time, you will have a second chance. So also starting Saturday, we have a positive aspect between Venus and Mars just forming. And this is energy that's going to be available to us the entire weekend. And this is a positive, supportive energy that I think is telling us that no matter how well we did on this little test, hopefully that we walked away with an important lesson. And that is that we stand a better chance of winning or finding a satisfactory resolution when we can engage in conflict from a place of compassion and respect, not only for ourselves, but for our opponent as well. There'll be times where we feel challenged to speak out on an issue that feels deeply important to us, because it comes from a place that is embedded in our values. And sometimes the only way we learn about how important something is to us is when it is challenged in some way by another person or situation. So for this reason, we can be grateful for the conflict that came up, because it allowed us to learn something important about ourselves and our values. And that takes us into Sunday. And then the moon enters Taurus on Sunday. And this is the moon's absolute favorite place to be in the entire zodiac. So this to me looks very positive. This is happening early in the morning. So we have a full day of this beautiful moon and Taurus energy, which is, of course, a Venus ruled sign. And Venus is going to still be in that aspect with Mars, who's also in Taurus. And Venus ruled signs, especially Taurus, very much love peace and comfort and harmony. And I think the energy coming through on Sunday um, is kind of the realization of the responsibility, yes, that comes with being the facilitators, the creators of our own peace in our environment. We are responsible for the energy that we surround ourselves with. But it's also important to assert ourselves and to be true to our values and to speak out on them, when we feel that it's right to do so. So hopefully this week we've learned how to do that in a way that is productive and diplomatic. But either way, Saturn's lesson plan, along with principal Jupiter in Gemini, is a reminder to us that compromise isn't always the best solution. It's just simply an option. And we have more options available to us when we take an approach that is authentic and aligned with our highest personal and spiritual values. And that takes us to the tarot card of the week that I pulled. And for this week, I pulled the Five of Swords here. You can see there's a guy in the forefront with two swords glancing over his shoulder at these two sad figures and two swords lying on the ground, which we can probably assume are theirs. And this is a picture to me that looks like a defeat, right? And whether or not you identify with the victor in the front or the two sad losers in the back will depend, I think, on how you perceive conflict this week and which side of the fight you might be on. But I'm going to read an excerpt from Stephanie Caponi's Guided Tarot, which is a great handy guide to have if you are studying the tarot. She says, the Five of Swords teaches you that conflict, arguments, and quarreling are a natural element of all relationships. How you manage yourself during these moments will help you evolve. Start by understanding your triggers. Is it really that important to have the last word? What might these power struggles be trying to teach you? Other times, it's best to know when to walk away from a hostile situation. Take time for self-reflection around feelings of anger and ask yourself what they can teach you about your personal power. Conflicts with family and close friends can help renew those relationships if you dedicate your energy to finding the root of the hostility. Actively addressing hurt feelings often leads to improved communication. So with that, I hope any or all of this was helpful to you, and I hope you have a great week. Thanks for listening.